Masood, why this outrage over what has happened or what has been said by Mr. Azad? Is it untrue? Is it not a historical fact? Should we not accept it instead of getting offended?
See, we have actually become habitual of making such religious statements to touch, in fact, the religious sentiments of the people. I think the most sinister and the oppressive people are those who are, in fact, making such statements where it touches one's faith and religion. And there is one important thing which I would like to say here, that religion is treated as fungible label that can be activated and constitute a criteria for the membership of an ethnic group. So when the air in our country is going as such that we are using often on such statements which touch the faith of a particular community, we try to gain the ground or those people who they intend to motivate by way of making such statements.
Okay.
I think religion is something which is very close to you. You shouldn't make such statements which can hurt anybody.
The problem is not that some religion was offended. You are claiming that people get offended by these statements. But the question I'm asking is exactly this. What is offensive about this? This is recorded history.
See, if you ask me, somebody here was very correctly saying that it is Hazrat Adam alayhi salam who was the first person, according to our religion. We have our own faith. We say that he is the first person who was a Muslim, who was thrown out of this paradise along with the Amma Hawa. So they are the two persons who are in fact responsible for this creating this all generations in the world.
I get that, ma'am. I get that. But theology and religious belief and historical ancient facts are two different things. But let me just bring in some of our other panelists as well. Ahmad Ayaz, you know, the problem exactly is this, and this actually creates greater division when we are in some, communal denial, some societal denial of what has happened in the Indian subcontinent. That doesn't help us. In fact, if you look at it, the message that Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad sought to give was that we are all the same, right? Some may have converted, but we are all still the same and we are rooted in this land and its tradition. I want to read out, for example, what is said of the Kashmiri history. There was mass conversion of the Kashmir Valley to Islam in the 14th century. This was catalyzed by Mir Sayyid Ali Hamdani, a Persian Sufi mystic from Hamadan in western Iran, who visited Kashmir thrice in 1370s and 1380s, accompanied by hundreds of his disciples. The Kashmir transition to Islam is, however, identified above all with a locally born Sufi saint, Sheikh Nuruddin Nurani, who was born around 1377 in a village south of Srinagar and is referred to as the Alamdare Kashmir. Now, I could read out more historical aspects, recorded history. So what do we gain by denying this, and why should this be offensive?
No, the problem here is, you are starting midway, right from 1300th century, when the Bulbul Shah, came over to Kashmir as a first Muslim. See, point is, to our belief, everybody is a Muslim because Hazrat Adam, the first the first creation, the first, mankind on the earth was a Muslim.
Okay.
So to us, everybody is Muslim that way. So that also is true that the Islam reached to the India and then the Kashmir very late. That also is true. But if we go back, if the basic history, basic facts, then everybody is supposed to be Muslim, but it's not that.
No, that's not basic fact. That's a religious belief.
No,
once again. At least you accepted that as far as Kashmir or the Indian subcontinent history is concerned. At least you accept that as far as Kashmir and the Indian subcontinent history is concerned, Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad is only stating what is a fact or, accepted as a historical fact.
That is true. What he says that it has reached to the Kashmir very late. That also is true. Nobody can deny that. And to that extent, Mr. Azad has not said something which is not true. But to say that there was a conversion, man, that's not correct.
There
was a conversion. If people joined the Islam, they participated with the Islam, they aligned with the Islam. It was through knowledge and the preachings after the
Okay, but his central message is his central message was not of conflict or of conquering. His central message was that we are all sharing our ancient roots, and those ancient roots are Indic in nature. For example, there is agreement, Gopal, Krishna, Agarwal, amongst historians, that the history of Kashmir can be traced back to 250 BC, when the region was conquered by Ashoka, who subsequently sent missionaries to introduce Buddhism in the land. It also talks about how in Kalhana's Rajat Rangani, and it is mentioned that Buddhist rulers gave patronage to others, but of Hindu and early Muslim rulers as well. Kashmir became the center of what came to be known as Sanskrit Buddhism, and I could go on. Again, these are all historical facts. Is the trouble or the conflict not arising out of denial of history? And we've seen that, in other spheres of life as well, outside of Kashmir as well, just the sheer denial.
Yeah, Shivani, we have to understand that when we are talking of recorded history, if you deny some of the basic facts, that is because of religious, communal thought, secularism, etc., that debate goes on. But the fact has to be recorded as it is. And what you said, it's very important that the underlying message of Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad was that nobody has come from outside. We all belong to this one country, one nation. We may be of different religion, but ultimately our ancestors and fathers belong to this country, one nation. That's what RSS chief had said in the last Vijayadashmi Divas, that we all belong to one DNA. The issue is that we should consider we may have different religion, but we have to consider that this is our country, this is our motherland, we belong to this country, we have to work for the benefit of this country, and that's what the Ghulam Nabi Azad Sahib's message was, and that has to be understood. And that comes from actually accepting facts of history as they are. If you put them under the carpet, there will be conflict.
Yeah, there will be conflict because if you talk about denial of facts and history, the resolution of
conflict is accepting history.
Absolutely, you're right about that.
And moving ahead.
We have seen multiple such age-old issues between two communities continue to fester purely because there has been a denial of what has transpired, that has been proven through historical facts, and on issues where there is hardly any disagreement. The destruction of, for example, the Kashi Vishwanath temple being one. There is no dispute on those facts. But let me also bring in Sujata Bashir. Sir, 1 second. Let me also bring in Sujata Bashir of the Azad Party. People are also wondering, and his political critics are also wondering, why Mr. Azad is making these statements now. Umar Abdullah says, who is it to please? What is the political motive behind these statements?
He don't have any political motive in it. Like he said the truth, when the Islam has bring into the Kashmir. He said like it was, the Islam in Kashmir was just from like last 600 years. And Islam is actually on the earth from last 1400 years. And why they are making it controversial if he said the truth, what has happened, when it has been bring, and what was the circumstances. So why, if they speak, if they say Hey Ram or More Ram, that is not a controversial. But if the Ghulam Nabi Azad said that, what is the history of Kashmir, they have a problem. And if it is the truth, he is telling the history. He has not said anything else. He has not made any controversial statement.
But from a time
that it's not, everybody knows the land of Kashmir was for the Pandits. It was full of Pandits. यहाँ साधु संत रहते थे, और that was the reason like the Kashmir the Islam come last from 600 years.
Miss
me or
Neelofar
everybody from JNK, they know it.
Neelofar ji, you want to respond
now
to that?
Now they are bringing it as a, their statements will come.
I think the statement has only been made to gain the political mileage, nothing else. And we should be
forget about the reason.
Because
I think you forget about Farooq Abdullah, he said that time he was not that's not the controversial.
One by one.
He took in the Kher Bhavani, that's not the controversial.
And he is the Farooq Abdullah, the politics,
Ghulam Nabi Azad said, and it's a controversial.
You should not do it, neither allow anybody to do it.
Why you are saying that?
Nobody raise a finger.
You are giving the wrong information to the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
1 second, can I just intervene?
In what
Can I just intervene? 1 second, please lower the volume. Can I just have the two ladies with me on the screen, please? Can I just intervene? I just want to fundamentally understand why is it being projected as an offense to one